Have you guys ever wondered what the top 10 worst bloodlines are? Well, look no further. In this video, I'll be telling you guys what the top 10 worst bloodlines of Shindo Life are. Now, please be aware, first of all, this is my opinion, so if you guys don't agree with any of my opinions, feel free to comment below what you guys think. I'm actually really curious to find out what you guys think of the worst bloodlines and what you guys actually think about the bloodlines on this list. Also, please be aware that I will be taking rarity into account, so these rarer bloodlines that are actually, not that great will actually be ranked higher up on this list than they normally would be because they're rare. If they're a rarer bloodline, they should at least be usable. They should not be bad, and that is my personal philosophy when it comes to actually, rare things in games. So if you guys enjoyed this video, let's go right to the video, guys. All right, so coming in 10th place is actually going to be Bankai Inferno. Bankai Inferno is going to be coming in 10th place because it actually is an extremely rare bloodline and also isn't that great as a bloodline itself. Now, the reason why it's going to be coming in 10th is because it's not that rare and it can be useful in a lot of limited case scenarios, like as if you're just using it for the break warrior, you just need a little bit of damage on the Z spec. There's much better Z specs in the game, but it's there. But Bankai Inferno overall just really isn't that great of a bloodline. It actually is reflected in its rarity. In my opinion, every bloodline on this list either needs to get buffed or they actually need their rarity reduced. Either one will work just fine, but as it stands, Bankai Inferno is not worth the rarity. And if you somehow spin Bankai Inferno in the spin selection, you will feel extremely disappointed. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so coming in 9th place, it's gonna be Sriracha Akuma. Yes, you heard that correctly. Sriracha Akuma is gonna be coming in 9th place. I'm sure everyone expected this. Sriracha being an Akuma, it is the worst Akuma in the game. It's even worse than the original Akuma. Not only that, but also is extremely rare to get. This is the skin, by the way, because I'm a hashtag flexer. But Sriracha, it's just like, it pretty much has nothing going for it. I mean, like, the only thing you really can do with it is somewhat combo extend, but even then, all the abilities either have too much end lag, knock back too far, or just don't work. Combined with the fact that the iframe isn't even an iframe. It doesn't actually trigger when someone attacks you. All Sriracha really has is that the full samurai spirit is cool. The full samurai spirit is really good. That's literally it. So since it actually has one thing that's good, it's going to be in the honorable mentions, but it's like Sriracha. It definitely needs some major buffs. All right, so coming in 8th place is going to be Diva Ren Goku. Yes, you heard that correctly, Diva Ren. Now, Diva Ren is going to be in 8th place because I do feel like Diva Ren just really isn't that great as the bloodline itself. Even though the abilities can be useful, I know they can be useful. I like using Diva Ren. I think using Diva Ren is fun, but that doesn't make up for the fact that the bloodline itself is bad. It's a boss drop, and boss drops are insanely hard to get, so I think that should definitely be taken into account when people, consider how good a bloodline actually is. There could be a common bloodline that is absolute trash. So what? So what? You get this bloodline all the time. It's fine if it's absolute garbage. But bloodlines that you get once in a lifetime, bloodlines that you get once overall in this entire game should be good. I think they should at least be usable. Diva Ren is a perfect example of that, considering Diva Ren, even though it is maybe the worst bloodline in the game, it's definitely not even close to being the best. Now, coming to 7th place is going to be V-Mud. Now, even though V-Mud isn't really that rare of a bloodline, I think it's like 1 out of 90. It also is kind of just a waste of a bloodline slot. The abilities are either super janky and don't even work half the time. The ragdoll stuns don't even trigger correctly sometimes. Third ability doesn't even actually stun them. First ability is, there's a ton of other clone abilities in the game. So pretty much V-Mud really has nothing going for it, but the one thing it does have going for it is that you can use the clone move to kind of just annoy people or push people away. That's kind of the only thing I use for V-Mud myself if I do actually use the bloodline. Hey you, yeah you, have you remembered to hit that like button on the video yet? If you haven't already, go ahead and do it. Now, coming to 6th place is going to be Red Shiki. This is probably going to be another one that a lot of people expected as well. This is also the skin because I'm a hashtag flexer, you know what I'm saying? Look at this. Look how dope this looks. This is like the only actual gold skin in the game that isn't pea colored. But when it comes to Red Shiki just it's terrible besides the first ability. I mean, like, Red Shiki has literally nothing going for it. All of its abilities are either reskins or just bad. And then the only thing that it really has that is better than, what other bloodlines have is this counter. I mean, the counter is really good. I'm not going to lie. The counter is one of the best counters in the entire game. It lasts a long time, gives you chi back for when they attack you. And yeah, it's a really good counter overall, but that doesn't make up for the fact that this bloodline is trash. The coming to 5th place is actually going to be Bolt. Yes, you heard that correctly, Bolt. Now, Bolt's going to be coming to 5th place because I do feel like Bolt just really isn't that great as a bloodline. Even though Bolt can be useful in a lot of different scenarios, I specifically think that the third ability is actually very good because it's instantaneous, but Bolt itself isn't that great. It doesn't really do an overwhelming amount of damage. It's really hard to actually set up the abilities correctly, and I do actually feel like the bloodline itself just kind of needs a push to be better. But as it stands, Bolt really isn't the most rare bloodline in the game, so if it's trash, it's trash. People will just keep spinning over it, but I feel like Bolt could definitely be something great in my opinion. Now, coming to 4th place is actually going to be Bubble. Yes, you heard that correctly, Bubble. Now, Bubble's going to be coming to 4th place because Bubble has no place in the meta, not to mention the fact that the mode is absolute trash because it actually knocks it super far away. But Bubble is literally just like a thing that, okay, if you want to use Bubble, there's an element called Acid. Acid does everything Bubble does, but you can also equip to your element slots. If anything, just move Bubble to being a Z-spec, remove the knockback from the M1s, reduce the damage by a ton, and Bubble will be fine. But as it stands right now, Bubble is literally just, you just don't use Bubble, because why would you ever use Bubble if you could just use Acid? Now coming to third place is actually going to be Menza. Yes, you heard that correctly, Menza. Now Menza's going to be coming to third place because Menza just, you know, even though it does have things it could do, either the abilities are just so predictable you could just get countered. They either don't even work half the time. They're super wonky. Like, you know, Menza ability, the first one, I feel like both of them should trigger at the same time. That would be cool, but they don't trigger at the same time, so it's pretty trash. Not to mention the fact that the other abilities also really do not work that great, and it's just like Menza I feel like Menza is one of the worst bloodlines on release ever, because it either has super long startup, it has too many hand signs, it's just like, I don't know, it's just not a very good bloodline in my opinion, but you still can win with it, of course. Now coming in second place is going to be Ashen Storm. Yes, you heard that correctly, Ashen Storm. And I know people are going to be mad about this. I am aware that Ashen Storm is not the absolute worst KG in the game, but for it being a god spec, it's pretty darn terrible. So when you look at Ashen Storm, you think to yourself, wait, what is this bloodline? I've never seen anyone use this bloodline before in this entire game, and you would be correct. This bloodline, nobody uses it for good. There's a very good reason why. Not to mention the fact that Ashen Storm itself just really isn't that great. The M1s knock back. They don't stun anymore like they used to. The C spec, you know, it's okay, but there's like 5 million other C specs in the game that are dash attacks that also stun. This one does not stun. It just throws them back. It throws them in a circle. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to actually Ashen Storm, it's just like, if you're going to use the C-Pick of Ashen Storm, just use Dio Senko instead. If you're going to use the first ability of Ashen Storm, just use something like a Zim Senko. I mean, I do think that the first ability of Ashen Storm is probably the best one of the entire bloodline. But, you know, for it being a C-Spec, and for it being a God Spec, it just has so much weaknesses that I just cannot recommend getting this bloodline. It definitely has some work to do on it, or it just needs to be reduced rarity wise. Now honorable one is actually going to be Hair. Yes, you heard that correctly, Hair. Now even though Hair is, the mode is good, I think the Hair mode is good. The C spec, you know, it's good for comboing. The M1s, they're pretty good, but the actual abilities of Hair are pretty trash. So that's why it's actually going to be on this list, because the actual abilities of Hair just aren't that great. They either have super long startup, too many hand signs, just really aren't that great for comboing, or, you know, even if you're not a Combotron 5000, it's still a pretty trash bloodline all things considered. And I would say avoid this bloodline unless you just really desperately need a C mode. The coming Auto Retro 2 is going to be Minakami. Yes, you heard that correctly, Minakami. Minakami is going to become an Auto Retro 2 just because I feel like Minakami just, you know, I feel like a lot of people actually agree with this opinion as well. I don't feel like it's just me that's saying this. Minakami's pretty trash. The abilities are either super wonky. My character just got glitched out. The abilities are either just super wonky. They don't work correctly. You have to reset to actually use the bloodline. It just has so many things wrong with it that it's just really not that great. Combined with the fact that the only good ability of it was the third ability, and that was absolutely butchered in this game. By the way, guys, what do you guys think is the worst bloodline in Shindo Life? If you're telling me comments below, we'll be checking them out. Now, coming in first place is going to be Inferno. Yes, you heard that correctly, Inferno. Now, Inferno is going to be coming in first because I do feel like Inferno, it just does not fit to the meta at all right now. People have said, okay, yeah, you know, I use Inferno in my combos. Well, first of all, no, you don't. I mean it when I say this, and I'm not lying. This is not me exaggerating. This is not me trying to tell a story. I have never seen someone use Inferno since it was released, and it was released over a year ago, and I have not ever seen a single person use it at PvP, and I've PvP'd quite a bit of people, let me tell you. Even in like combo videos, even in competitive, even in Ember duels, even in just normal PvP, like in just RPG, I have never seen someone use this bloodline, and I think if that is not a telltale bloodline of a telltale sign of a bloodline being absolute trash, I don't even know what is, man. I mean, like Inferno, it's just like the dash isn't even instantaneous. The second ability, it's just like the first ability but less damage. The third ability is just it's super close AoE. If you're going to use that, just use something else that does more damage. Just like Inferno is just absolute garbage, combined with the fact that it also is not even that like common. It is a little bit rare. I'm pretty sure it's over 100 rarity, and that's just ridiculous for being a bloodline that is just absolute garbage. Anyways, guys, that's for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.